So I want to share a couple ideas with you, but first I just want to thank everyone for having me. I thank you for jThoughts for inviting me, Rachel for putting up with me and the times and the scheduling. It was amazing of you. I want to share a couple ideas with each of you. In life, we have windows of time. A window of time has a beginning and it has an end. I'm a dad. I have 4 children that are living in the window of time of childhood. And no matter how involved I am as a dad, I still have a thought in my head every day. Am I missing the window? Because someday that window is going to close. And I can never go back to raising my kids again. That window is a very special time. When God created the world, he created it with windows of time. Shabbat is a window of time. It's a time that we can tap into something to rejuvenate, to refresh spiritually. What if I say to my wife, honey, this week I'm at DreamWorks, I'm so busy right now, let's do Shabbat on Tuesday. We'll dress up the kids, you'll make a cholent, we'll do Kabbalat Shabbat, we'll go through all the exact davening, everything we do on Shabbat, we'll do it on Tuesday. You can go through all that, but if you do that, it is nothing like Shabbat at all. Because the window of time that God created is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. When God created the world, he created these zmanim, these windows of time. Sukkot is a window of time. It's known as Zman Simchatenu. If you're Ashkenaz, Zman Simchasenu. It's the time of joy. Does that mean the rest of the year we're going to be depressed every day? No. It means that during Sukkot we can tap into a window of time and a window of joy that is unlike every other time of the year. We're getting ready for Pesach. Zman Cherusenu, the time of freedom. Does that mean we're slaves the rest of the year? No. It means that during this time, like the rabbi before me said, we can tap into something so spiritual, Kabbalistic and beautiful, a level of freedom that we cannot get the rest of the year. That is a window of time. Only if we choose to get the most out of it. So I guess we should be asking ourselves a question. What's freedom? We should know what freedom is. If you ask my kids what freedom is, they'll tell you, I want to watch Netflix whenever I want. We think freedom is I can do anything that I want anytime I want. Financial freedom, well, we don't want financial freedom. We do want financial freedom. Financial freedom is I can do whatever it is I want. To wake up with the goal of I can do whatever it is I want, that's children. That's how children think. 4-year-olds want to do that. We know that when you grow up, there's something different. It's called rules, responsibilities. God takes the Jewish people out of Egypt. They're slaves. They have to follow all these rules. He takes them out of Egypt and brings them out into the desert, and 40 days later gives them a book of rules. You took me out of there where I had to do everything they said, and now you're going to bring me over here, you tell me I have to do everything you say? Sounds like I'm a slave. You know the difference of what it means to be a slave and a servant? 2 people could be doing the exact same thing, sweeping a garage, whatever. The servant sweeps it, the slave sweeps it. You know the difference? Choice, free will. A servant is someone that chooses to decide how they're going to live their life, to choose how they're going to live. And where do you make that choice? Up here. The Jewish people were in Egypt. God comes to the Jewish people and says, I want you to slaughter this Paschal lamb. We've all heard this story before. Slaughter the Paschal lamb, take the blood, and put it on the doorpost. Why? So the angel of death will pass over your house, and the angel of death won't kill your firstborn because he'll know you're a Jew. Do you know who decides what angels do? God. The angel of death is an extension of God himself. God doesn't know where the Jews live? You think God's like, I'm going to pass over. Oh, there's a Jew that lives there. Thank you for putting that blood on there. No, it's not what's going on. You see, the Paschal lamb was a god in Egypt. The Paschal lamb is one of the gods that all the Egyptians prayed to. That was their god. That was the height of their culture. The Jewish people had to slaughter it and put that blood on their doorpost, which is why today we have a mezuzah there. Same place. You know why? Because the Jewish people had to first realize that that God is not my God. We think it's like the Prince of Egypt. The Jews were doing backbreaking work and they were being whipped, and then they just wanted to run out and leave. Most of the Jewish people wanted to stay in Egypt. Most of the Jewish people wanted to assimilate with the Egyptian culture. They wanted to be like Egyptians. They weren't embracing their own Jewish identity. You got a mezuzah on your doorway, which reminds us of that blood. You're going out into the world. There's a mezuzah. A mezuzah is not a thing. It's an opportunity. I'm going out into the world. I have an opportunity to ask myself a question. What kind of a world do I want to create? What am I living for as a Jew? You put a mezuzah on your door. You're about to walk in your home. You wipe off your feet. You're about to come in. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. What kind of a home do I want to create? What are the values I want to have in my home? Why do I need a partner to help me create a home? as a Jew. It's not just a home, it's a Jewish home. You see, the Jewish people had to say that Egyptian God publicly, they had to put that blood on their doorpost and say, that is not my God. Because you see, before God could take the Jewish people out of Egypt, the Jewish people had to take Egypt out of themselves. Up here. Up here. They had to realize, I'm a Jew. What does that mean? Anyone here ever see the movie Shawshank Redemption? Want to see that movie? Yeah, one of the most incredible movies. Amazing. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it. There's a scene in that movie where Andy Dufresne is in prison. And he's wrongly accused of murder, put in prison. He goes into the warden's room and he finds a record player. Anyone remember this scene? Incredible, right? What's that? Plays the music. Plays the music. He plays this operatic aria for the entire inmates to hear it. They're in the yard. He takes the microphone, puts it near the record player, and he plays that music for everyone. And their souls are soaring because they're hearing music for the first time in many years. He didn't just keep the music for himself, he plays it for them. And because of that little stunt, he gets put in the hole. Solitary confinement. He's going to be in the hole with all blackness, no one around for weeks, longer than anyone has ever been in the hole. And when he gets out of the hole, he's sitting at the table with the guys the next day, and they say, what was it like in the hole? He's like, it wasn't that bad. They're like, what do you mean it wasn't that bad? He's like, I had the music with me. They're like, they let you take that record player in there? He's like, no, I had it in here. You see, the essence of what freedom is, it's a choice. You know, the first Seder you would think in history would happen the year they got out of Egypt. God took us out of Egypt. Next year we're in the desert. We should probably have a Seder. We should have that meal to remember it. The very first Seder in history happened the night before they left Egypt. How do you celebrate being free from jail when you're still in prison? Because it's up here. We can't look at our lives and expect that we're going to wake up one day and feel free because of the way the world makes us feel. Real freedom, it's all up here. It's literally choosing how do I want to live. Clarifying what life is about. But how do you get it done? If you're lucky enough to have clarity on what you really want out of life, if you can answer the question, what am I living for? It's up here, clarity. How do you make it real? If there was only an instruction manual teaching us how to live, there's an instruction manual for everything. If there was only an instruction manual for living, oh, there is. It's called Torah. Torah, the word Torah means instructions. It means directions. It's literally an instruction manual teaching us how to live. You see, real freedom is not waking up and just getting clarity on the way I want to live. Freedom is, says Rebbe Yitzhak Berkovitz, choosing what structure I want to live my life by. Freedom without structure is not freedom at all. When the Jewish people stood at Mount Sinai, they said, I'm choosing a life of Torah. Good luck trying to get through life without it. They say we have to have devekis to Hashem, to Torah. Cling to it. You know what it means? It means if you're in the ocean and you're drowning and someone throws you a life preserver, you're not going to be like, you know what, I might hold on to that. You hold on to it with everything you have because if you let go, you're going to die. But we have to choose that we want life. We put the Torah back into the ark. We say, Eitz Chaim hi l'ma chasikim ba. Torah is a tree of life for those who choose to grab onto it. We're getting ready, people, for Zman Cherusenu, the time of freedom. We've got to get our minds ready for it. And we have to decide, do I want to live a life of Torah? Is that the structure I want to live my life by? Or do I want to just live the structure that Hollywood tells me I should live by? Speaking of Hollywood, I have a couple of clips I want to show you guys. Let's get the lights.
Because believe it or not, each and every one of us in this room is one day going to stop breathing, turn cold, and die. I'd like you to step forward over here and peruse some of the faces from the past. Their eyes are full of hope, just like you. If you listen real close, you can hear them whisper their legacy to you. Seize the day, boys. Make your lives
Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you've got to figure out.
I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living. You get busy dying.
You see, he lives in you. Father,
Simba, you have forgotten me.
no. How could I?
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
Thank you. And with one quick idea, next week we're going to have a Seder. How we approach that Seder is how we approach life. It's exactly the same thing. And I promise you, it's a window. Pesach will come and it will go. And our lives are this fast. Ask someone who's 90 years old how fast life goes. This fast. As we go through the Seder, don't just go through the words. Don't just hear the words, experience the words, and do everything you can to make them real. Thank you so much. Thank you.